I know you just, Marty Smith, ESPN, I know you just noted, congratulations, gentlemen, all of you, by the way. I know you just noted that this was one of the best performances of your career. Your hero said it was the best. What does it mean to you that someone you admire to that level considered this performance that stellar?
Yeah, it was, for those of you who don't know, when we were doing one of the ESPN interviews, they had a surprise phone call for us on the line, and it was A.J. Foyt. And to hear him say that was the best race he's ever seen me run is it brings a tear to your eye. I mean, not many people can have their lifelong hero say that and hear you say that. So it's just very, very flattering. The one thing out of the conversation I was surprised. Even when I drove Silver Crown cars for him and George Snyder, we'd win the race, and he'd still tell me everything I did wrong during the race. And for once, he didn't tell me that I did anything wrong. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to top this now. I think my life's complete, and if I get hit on a golf cart, I'm good to go now. Because AJ said I did everything I could perfect for once. So it's an honor. That was probably one of the coolest phone calls I've ever had in my life, obviously. But it's just to go into a day like today when you know what's at stake, and it's not just it's the head-to-head battle. Obviously, it's one guy versus another, but there's still 41 other variables out there, and to have him leading the first half of the race and dominating it like he did, and to be able to battle back from that, and there was one option for us. I mean, it wasn't like he was going to make a mistake, lose a spot, and we still were going to win it if we stayed ahead of him. If he stayed second or third, we still had to win the race. So, to have a battle like that, I mean, you sit here and you shake your head going, how did we just do that? But at the same time, I'm sitting there wondering, he's probably going back to his best, taking a shower, going, what do I have to do to beat that guy? And I hope he does. I mean, it's one of the coolest championship battles, and I'll respect it and for the rest of my life. But I mean, you couldn't ask for a better guy, and I absolutely mentally tried to beat that kid up this week. I mean, I felt like I had to throw everything I had in my arsenal out to get this opportunity, and I felt like we won all the battles, going into it. He's too nice to fight back. It was like picking on a kid, It's like you kind of felt bad, but at the same time you're like, you still won, so count it as a win. But it's what he said when we were coming around with the flag sticking out of the car. He walked up and he said, just promise me one thing, that you're going to have fun with this. And I said, well, of all people, buddy, I can promise you aren't going to have to worry about that. I won't let you down. But he goes, I hope a year from now we're in this same battle again, just like this. And that everybody respects Carl for the person that he is. And there's been a lot of things that have happened that make you go, is there sincerity involved in what he says? And there's no cameras there when he said that. He just came and talked to me driver to driver, and that means a lot, and it shows who he is as a person, I think. So, I know there's times he hadn't done everything perfect, and he's taken it upon himself to settle scores, but I think deep down, moments like that, and at Texas when he came out there and we had that conversation, it shows who he really is as a person, and he will win a championship. He'll be up here in our position again, and you never want to be the guy on the losing end of it, but I mean, I hope that when he gets it, I hope he has to beat us to do it again. So, I appreciate that battle that we had. It was a David versus Goliath battle to the end, and to have the week that we had and the sparring that we had at Media Day, and to come here and finish the season running first and second, I don't know how it gets better than that. No matter what the outcome was, I mean, there would have been no shame in finishing second to him tonight in the championship, but to have that battle come down, to me, that's epic.
Let's go over here far left, Kurt, and then we'll go to Ryan McGee. Go ahead.
Kurt Cavan, Indianapolis Star.
Great job. I'm glad you learned from yesterday. Well done.
I try to learn from you. You sounded so calm on the radio, reassuring your team, kind of a leader on the team. But who was reassuring you? Did you have some doubts at any point? Did you think maybe this is just not meant to be?
I think this summer has kind of been character building to a certain degree. the good thing is, I mean, I think the guys, when you're in the role that I am, I feel like that there's some added pressure there from my standpoint, even being in the car. I mean, Darian is the guy that they feed off of in the pits, obviously, because Darian's the guy that they read. But I think we've been a really good team from that aspect of, you know, that was the first when we hung the lug nut today, and you know, I thought that was one of the key moments in the race where, you know, you could lose your composure, and I think Darian's calling the audible of saying, hey, we're gonna make this a 2-tire stop now. I mean, that was huge. We didn't give up any more track position. We had a car that was fast, and that was big. And I pulled out on the stop, and I had no idea what happened. So that's probably the first time in the chase that I've raised my voice, and I'm like, what the heck just happened, you know? And you know, Darian's demeanor from day one when we started in 09 is just, he's been calm, and you know, he told me it hung a lug nut, but the way he says it was in a way that it's just like, all right, you know, it is what it is. It's nothing to get excited about it. And you know, when we had the restart that we had, it's like, hey, you know, you looked at how the first 109 laps went before the rain delay came. It's like, so we hung a lug nut and we're back to 12th now. It's, you know, I think the way our season went and the way the first 100 laps of the race went, it was easy to put it in perspective that it wasn't as big a drama as what we thought. But I mean, you know, Carl had a good pit stop, gained a bunch of spots, but you know, that wasn't when they paid the points and dropped the flag. I mean, there was a lot of racing to go, and there's just, it goes back to nobody's ever quit in this team, and you know, like I said, I think this season's been character building, and when something like that's happened, it's easy to kind of feel like you're backing yourself in a corner. But the way our day was, and to battle back from the back twice in those first 100 laps, I thought gave us the confidence that it wasn't the end of the world and that we could recover from it.
Let's go Ryan McGee right here, Ryan, and then we'll go to the press box.
Ryan McGee with ESPN Magazine. 2 questions. You had to make a tough decision, you said, when you let Bobby Hutchins go, parted ways with him. How much of a part did he have in where you are tonight? And the second question is, a lot of people making a comparison to Alan Kawicki, and you've been quick to correct them on that, haven't you?
Yeah, I'll address that first for sure. I mean, what Alan did, from my standpoint, you can't put me in that category with him. It's unfair to Alan. You know, Alan built his organization from the ground up, and I was very fortunate that Gene had built a strong foundation for Darian and myself and Bobby Hutchins to come in, and we had great resources, great tools. It was a matter of changing some people around to make it all work. And you know, you can't give me too much credit for that. I mean, I wasn't responsible for that. I was responsible for getting Darian and Bobby and Tony Gibson and Ryan, and Darian and Bobby and Tony Gibson were really the guys that said, you know, this is what we need people-wise and personnel-wise, and so you know, Gene gave me the faith and the trust to go get the people that I felt like that we needed to get, and a lot of that was Rick Hendrick too. I mean, Rick was the one that said, hey, this guy's the guy that I think is going to be a good fit for you, and you know, that's the push in the right direction that you need from somebody like that to give you that confidence. But you know, Bobby and Darian and Tony together, I think all three were very instrumental in orchestrating what personnel they needed to take the resources that Gene had already had established to make all of it work and make it all come together.
Let's go to the press box for a couple questions, and then we'll come back downstairs to Holly Kane.
Jeff Press from SBNation.com. Tony, you've obviously heaped praise on Darian, and deservedly so. But before you came in here, he had mentioned that it's under his impression that he's out of a job for next season. Can you at all shed some light on his status? I know it's kind of awkward with him sitting right there, but
I know what his status is for the rest of the night, and I'm going to get him drunk. So well, tomorrow, if we can just pick our heads up off the floor without throwing up, I'm going to be extremely happy. So we'll worry about that tomorrow.
But is there any chance that you guys could he would return, or can you say anything?
But what now?
Could he come back next year, even though his status is unclear?
I mean, there's a lot of things in the off season and a lot of decisions that have to be made, and obviously we wanted to get through this championship battle first, and we'll we'll sit down as a group, obviously, this week and figure out the direction of our program. But, the good thing right now is that we're sitting up here as champions right now, and I don't think any of us are really too concerned about anything other than having fun tonight and enjoying the accomplishment we've had over the last 10 weeks.
Go ahead, press box.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Tony, given that, does that put a different perspective on this championship run, that despite that uncertainty, and I would assume that created more duress? Darian talked about how it was maybe a little bit of a tension builder at times. I mean, can you kind of talk about how you guys were able to overcome that and still do everything and win the championship despite all of that?
I think the way this whole chase has worked out for us to battle through a number of variables to get where we are is remarkable. But it shows the strength of the people that we have, and it definitely makes you go, how did we do this? How did we overcome a lot of variables to get where we are? But at the same time makes it very gratifying because you are able to take a less than perfect scenario and have success with it. So I think we're all up here going to take a lot of pride in that.
Go ahead, press box.
No additional questions.
Okay, let's come back down to Holly Kane, and then we'll go to Joe Menzer.
Holly Kane, FoxSports.com. Tony, and you kind of spoke about this a little bit, but people that know you well have said, I've never seen him more determined. And we've seen you through various championships, but this one felt a little different in terms of almost being like Babe Ruth, pointing and this is what I'm going to do, and you did. Could you just talk about that approach? I mean, your determination in this one and the way it all played out, especially in the last, 2 or 3 weeks.
Boy, did I look like a genius after doing that. But, it's like I said, I mean, it's one thing for me to have confidence as a driver, but you have to have confidence in your guys and your equipment and the guys making the calls. And, I honestly think the turning point for us was Martinsville. I mean, we had struggled at Martinsville the 3 races before this fall, and to battle to stay on the lead lap, and once we stayed on the lead lap there, to battle back to the lead and to win the race with the drama that we won the race. I mean, I've yet to have anybody tell me who's passed for the lead on the outside to win a race at Martinsville. And to leave there saying we just did something pretty remarkable, that I feel like that was the turning point in this chase for us. And then we backed it up a week later with winning Texas, and not only winning Texas, but beating the guy that we're racing for the point championship with, and leading the most laps, and really, making a statement that, hey, don't make the mistake of counting us out of this. And I think that was a huge turning point for us, and you get that confidence that everything is going right, and it's so much easier when things are going well. Everybody relaxes, everybody's calm. You're not trying to mentally figure out what the missing piece of the puzzle is, and I think Martinsville was kind of that step that, we may not have had a perfect car that day, and we may not have had the perfect race, but we fought through it and came out on top. And, to battle like that at Texas all day, at that point you sit there and you go, we got as good a shot, if not better, than anybody else out there, and it doesn't matter who's still left. We are a contender now, and that's the kind of confidence you want going into the last 2 weeks.